What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Dash, and today is March 30th of 2018. Well, folks, today we have a very exciting review today. Today I have a really awesome experience in regards to getting to interview two team members from the ZenCash team, a privacy-focused cryptocurrency that's hoping to build an entire ecosystem for privacy, much different comparative to a lot of the players in the space. And I'm really excited to have both Rob as well as Rolf here on the interview. So guys, I want to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves real quick, and then we'll dive into ZenCash. So I guess we'll start off with Rob first.
Hey, sure. Yeah, I'm Rob Viglione. I'm the team lead for ZenCash, so really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Hey, this is Rolf Versidis. Yeah, I'm usually called the chief engineer at ZenCash and co-founder, just like Rob, and spent a lot of time working with software developers and infrastructure guys and chatting with folks in the community and things like that.
That's awesome. So real quick, I want to ask something I forgot to mention earlier on before we started the interview, guys. How long have you guys been working with ZenCash, real quick?
That's a good question. When did we actually get started on this, Rolf?
Was it about a year ago that we first started talking, right?
Yeah, I mean, it well over a year. I think November, December of 2016, we really started to, get together on Z Classic and
the community before the craziness.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, well, anyways, I just want to go ahead and jump right into it, guys, because I know that there's a lot of different privacy coins in the space. As someone who's been advocaately trying to catch up with everything and research on all the different projects, it's hard to get kind of a short summary of all the different players. So I'm really curious if right ahead, Rob, could you give maybe a little bit of a summary on what ZenCash is in probably a minute?
Sure, absolutely. So, I mean, first, a lot of people place us in the privacy coin space. So within that context, we're within the class of the zero-knowledge cryptography space. But that's really just the starting point. And like you mentioned previously, we are building out a full ecosystem. So it's an ecosystem focused on privacy, but on top of which we're going to be building a whole bunch of really interesting applications.
Cool. Awesome. That's a great summary. So instead of just kind of going through being a cryptocurrency used for private transactions, this is going to be a currency to fuel all types of different applications and services in regards to the ecosystem for ZenCash.
Absolutely. Correct.
Awesome. Cool. Well, it's really interesting when we're talking about building an ecosystem and stuff. It kind of goes back to the story that, I'll be fair, I didn't really know about. And I had always heard about these cryptocurrencies, but I didn't know about the kind of preliminary history of all the different stages. So I know many people might understand the history of ZCash being the original starting point for all of this in regards to ZenCash. So could we kind of maybe talk a little bit about how that process went?
Yeah.
Right. Want to take it, Rolf? Yeah.
Absolutely. So I kind of came at it from a mining standpoint, and because I do a lot of cryptocurrency mining, and when you do that, you're spending time and money pointing your miners at different cryptocurrencies, and you want to mine ones that you're going to hold on for a while, and that naturally leads into doing your due diligence on the different projects. So when Zcash started, I'm like, wow, privacy, that's really cool. I started mining that, and then I saw that Z Classic was a fork. And was tradable and was very similar to Zcash, but with more mining rewards. So I started doing that and was mining a bunch of Z Classic. And Rob and I started talking. We're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to do this? Wouldn't it be nice to do these other things? How about we get on the hardware wallets and different exchanges? And it was, Zcash has a great team of developers and their business. So we weren't really able to influence that. Z Classic has a mandate to just be a low-cost copy of Zcash. So we decided, like, okay, well, we're going to take all this great technology and these ideas and the things that we've seen other cryptocurrencies do and roll them all together and start going. And that's kind of what led to ZenCash. So we talk about being, because Z Classic was just kind of a stepping stone. The code that we've got right now, we bring in upstream improvements from Bitcoin and Zcash directly. And then we have a lot of our own modifications and plans that we add on to that. So that was kind of the genesis and the reason. Now we actually started, and this was back before people knew this, like, because with Bitcoin you had Bcash and all the different forks off Bitcoin. It's pretty clear now, but when we did this back in May, it was pretty new to do a fork off an existing project and bring the whole community and bring all the existing coins and transactions. And we had to get some code written for replay protection and stuff, but it brought us an immediate community. And so all the people that had been working hard and doing all this planning in Z Classic were able to come over to ZenCash and be part of that. So that was part of the deal.
So awesome. So the kind of timeline summary between the three stages would be, in the case of Zcash, the biggest thing that I saw as a conflict was the founder's reward. It was around 20%, if I'm correct. And then it went to Z Classic, which removed the founder's reward and was going to grant that to the miners in that case. And then the third one was going to be in the case of ZenCash, which is going to build an entire ecosystem, expanding out of just being a single-use privacy currency. Okay. Awesome. So kind of stepping into that whole ecosystem in that regard, I'm really curious because I know there's a few different things you guys have been working on, things like Zen Pub, I think it's Zen Chat, some of the other different things you're hoping to build, or Zen Talk it might be, where you guys are aiming to build an entire ecosystem of privacy, which is something that really kind of stands close to my heart personally, and I think we don't see enough talk on in regards to the cryptocurrency ecosystem. So I'd love to hear, maybe if Rob, if you could dive in a little bit and just talk a little bit about what you guys are aiming to do in regards to make this almost like a privacy protocol.
Right, absolutely. So, and this is somewhat forward-looking. So, really, we do have some really interesting projects that we're working right now. So, for instance, you mentioned that whole chat application. So, we've built a chat protocol to basically leverage the ZK Snark technology that we already have to send private messages. It's a minimum viable product, and I have to say we have a little bit of work to do to actually make it more mainstreamable. But now we have a whole set of other things that we're looking at. So one really important part of our project is we have a massive node network, and we started realizing, well, hey, we should really start using this. So, we're approaching, pretty quickly, probably 10,000 nodes within the next month or so, awesome. Which is huge. Yeah, so that's a lot of those are a lot of machines out there that now we need to start leveraging. So one of the first things that we figured was, let's do a distributed file storage system on this. So we're actually going to do something where we can leverage the storage capacity of the machines. The other thing we're thinking is, and that was ZenPub. The other thing that we're toying with now is something that we're kind of starting to call Zen Grid, which is, well, we have a lot of computational ability on the network. We can start thinking about ideas for renting computation and creating another channel for users to actually make money as node operators. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff we can do from there. We're toying with some other ideas. I don't want to be too forward-looking, irresponsibly with the ideas, but it's actually we're actually building a multi-tiered side chaining system. We can use that as our kind of platform base point to then start building stuff on top of that.
Awesome. So you cut out there a little bit at the end, Rob, but I did get the kind of general gist of most of what you said. I do like what you guys are aiming to do because it seems like you're turning what was originally Z Classic, in this case, into ZenCash. And ZenCash is building an ecosystem that's doing exactly what SiaCoin is doing, what exactly you have in regards to you have a lot of different messaging apps as well, but in regards to the Grid one, what things like Golem are doing in the cryptocurrency space. So you're trying to build this almost into not only just a currency, but a real asset that can be utilized as a means of transaction for all types of different services, especially with, you said 10,000 nodes. Like I think last time I checked it was at 6,000 or 8,000 when I was looking at the website. So now that you've gotten up to 10,000, you should obviously definitely.
Oh yeah, no, we're still just over 8,000. I was being forward-looking again on that.
Okay. 8,000. That's still, for something like ZenCash. That's really something to marvel at, to see 10,000 nodes on the network. So yeah, definitely making use of that computational power, offering services like that. You need to have that in a system where you want to build an ecosystem. So really good to hear that. And with all of these ambitions as well, I think it's without saying that you need a governance system. One thing that I've looked for in regards to kind of third generation blockchains is that I still see a lot of them not talking about true governance, and they label themselves as third generation or fourth generation. So I'd like to hear what you guys are aiming to do, because you guys actually locked in a partnership with IOHK, or everyone probably knows Charles Hoskinson, who previously worked on Ethereum, who's one of the heads at IOHK, as well as working on the Cardano project. And you guys worked on a collaborative partnership to research governance. So whatever one feels best to talk about this, I'm curious to hear both your opinions on it and what are your ambitions in regards to it. I guess we'll start off with Robert.
Sure. Yeah. So Charles actually started off as a strategic advisor on our project. So from that advisory role, we started learning a lot more on the inside of what IOHK was doing, and realized there's just so much synergy that we need to take advantage of for both organizations. So we have two really big R&D projects with IOHK. One's the governance system that you mentioned, which is basically a voting system on protocol to figure out how to allocate Treasury resources. So I think this is going to be a really big thing. It's a big kind of game theoretic improvement to what's currently on the market with, say, Dash. But then we also have another really big R&D project, which is looking at a block DAG protocol upgrade, which would massively increase our transaction throughput capabilities on the network. So that's something that is also really exciting that I think we need to do a better job talking about publicly, is we're looking to sort of leapfrog IOTA technology, whereas instead of having a transaction DAG like what IOTA is doing, Hashgraph and these other DAG-oriented projects, which it seems like 2018 is the year of DAGs. We're actually starting, so we're taking the R&D approach with IOHK, where we're starting with a math paper. Basically, it's a protocol specification from academics, or two of them. We're actually looking at two options. One's called Spectre, the other's called Phantom. And they both, instead of a transaction DAG, they both still optimize proof of work and still package all the transactions into blocks and still have miners, solving proof of work. So we're not replacing miners like a lot of people are concerned with. We're actually using a mining optimized or proof of work optimized block DAG structure, which could significantly increase our transaction throughput to potentially, thousands of transactions per second.
Awesome. Okay, so the DAG is going to be hopefully brought to ZenCash in the future. Is it going to be kind of a transition from traditional blockchain technology like Bitcoin going more towards a DAG that could process more transaction and still maintain at the same time a proof of work mechanism?
Exactly. Yeah. So really, all it is a generalization of the blockchain structure, so that you can do multiple blocks in parallel at the, and still have them all valid. So you're not wasting proof of work. You're actually harnessing the full capability of the full mining network. So it's really exciting protocol. But I have to just be a little bit cautionary here. Is right now we're validating an academic paper going through math proofs. We're hoping that by the end of the year we'll have a prototype. So this is a really big deal. It's not something that we want to be too casual about saying we're going to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's always hard to go under. I mean, it's the whole thing I saw with Cardano, and I'm a big fan of the project in general, and Charles, and the whole kind of philosophical approach where they're working on doing peer-reviewed research. They're taking their time. They're not trying to rush things out. And DAGs, I mean, you're not really overstating anything with that. DAGs, this is the year for DAGs right now. I've been really getting, I think half the time I'm getting comments about IOTA, Nano, all these different new DAGs popping up. And it's excited me personally with some of the capabilities, but we also see definitely there's a lot of experimentation, a lot of mistrust as to whether or not it can get to the security of blockchains like Bitcoin. So because of that, it is really interesting to see that kind of spark of innovation. And I'm glad to hear you guys are kind of diving into that as well.
And so, Nicholas, regarding the we've got where we started, where we are now, and then our path and where we are going to be in the future. And it might sound like we're doing a lot of different things, but we have a pretty long and extensive roadmap, and we still have the basics of privacy and usability. And some of the things that we've done so far and are looking to do are just going to continue on that privacy and usability, because within ZK Snarks, the zero knowledge proofs, there's a lot of capabilities there of having both the transparent transactions and the shielded transactions, being able to go back and forth between them. And so from a usability standpoint, there's a whole bunch of different things that encompass that. So first of all, really good wallets that people can use. And ZK Snarks have messaging capability built into them. And so we had the first wallets where people could actually send messages to and from each other, encrypted on the blockchain. Nobody could see who's sending it and who's receiving it. So it could even be private and anonymous. And you can include links to something that's been published anonymously. And so you have that there. But then we started thinking about what are the next steps. So if we're successful, what happens next? Well, there might be some folks that don't like that we're able to do completely private cryptocurrency transactions and messaging in some different countries of the world. They might attack our system. So where can we be attacked? And that's why we did the secure nodes. And so we're going to take a portion of the block reward and pay people that operate these nodes to keep them up and running and have a complete set of capabilities. And one of the things they have to do every day is when we challenge them, they dig deep into the blockchain. So it proves that they have the entire ZenCash blockchain on their server, and do a shielded transaction to send us the answer, which proves that, which actually creates a base layer of shielded transactions all over the world, which obfuscates anybody that's actually doing shielded transactions for their own use. So we create, and then one of the first things we did was turn on encryption between the nodes and the wallets. Most cryptocurrencies don't actually encrypt the network traffic between the wallets and the nodes and node to node. That's one of the first things we put in place. Now that we have those two things, we're prototyping the next step, which is the Zen Hide, which is censorship resistance. And this is a way to use the TLS certificates, the SSL certificates, like the little lock on your browser, to be able to access nodes using wallets from anywhere in the world, even inside a building that has a massive firewall, a country that has a massive firewall. I don't know if you remember, but a few weeks ago, Turkey blocked access to Proton Mail for everybody in the country. Countries can block access to full up services that they don't like. So we're all about usability. So we're saying, okay, if people are going to come to rely on us for their transactions and their messaging and their publishing, we got to make sure we're always up and running and people can always get to us. So that's what we've accomplished already. And now we're looking to say, okay, just like you said, within this privacy ecosystem, what other features and capabilities can we add that makes it even better? And that's why we do the research and the roadmap and all the development. And one of the things I'm excited about is Rob and Rosario and Rowan and Gustavo and all the other directors on the team have a lot of experience from a number of different directions, a lot of project management experience. So we're able to manage these research projects, these parallel development projects, and we're not limited to like one small development team. We have a lot of development teams working in parallel, getting us updates, working with each other. That's why it seems like we're doing a lot, and we are doing a lot just because of the different ways we've got ZenCash set up.
No, I don't think you guys are going too much above and beyond, because I've looked at the team. You guys have not only a solid development team behind it, but also good leadership, like you said, in regards to project management. Probably one of the largest teams I've seen in regards to any kind of privacy-focused cryptocurrency, or in this case, a cryptocurrency ecosystem for privacy. But outside of that as well, I mean, it sounds like you guys have some really good things. I was actually going to ask next what you guys would say what makes you better than other privacy cryptocurrencies and other things. We already know that you're trying to develop an ecosystem. We know the fact that you have these additional features you just mentioned and everything in regards to security between encryption in regards to the nodes and the wallets. I think that's a really good step. As well as, what would you name the last one you were talking about in regards to being able to send transactions even if there's a firewall?
Yeah, we call that Zen Hide, and it uses a technique called domain fronting to actually get through any blocking. So your wallet looks like it's accessing Google or Amazon or something like that to whatever firewall it is, but it actually goes and accesses a ZenCash node.
Really?
It's pretty cool. Look up domain fronting, and there's like Signal, the little private messaging thing. It uses that in some situations. So it's a pretty advanced technique. But there's places in the world where people are really oppressed, and if you give them the opportunity to claim a little bit of their freedom and a little bit of their property by being able to send messages and transact, and not worried about the knock on the door in the middle of the night and being marched away, that can change their lives completely.
No, exactly. I've been really excited about a lot of different projects trying to breach censorship and privacy, especially in China and Iran and Russia. And I've been a big fan of projects like Substratum and everything, where it's so empowering to think there's projects now, for example, in this whole blockchain space. In the case of Substratum, if you host a node on the network, they're doing decentralized web hosting. Basically, if you host a node on the network, you can relay over to someone in the US hosting a node and get complete access to the World Wide Web. It gets bypassing towards the fear of your VPN getting shutting down, or having to worry about the government of some sort trying to block VPNs. So it was really interesting to see in this past year how much is going towards actually fighting this still large issue in regards to censorship. So glad to hear you guys are doing that. I really appreciate that you guys are focused on that, not just on the sense of privacy, but actually resistant to censorship. So I guess in kind of like a last summary, guys, I want to hear what you all are hoping to do over the next few months here. I know I've heard some of the ambitions. What's the major goal that you guys want to do in regards to ZenCash overall, to kind of look towards the next few months to get people ambitious for the project? I guess we'll talk about Robert first.
Sure. I mean, so one thing that's really big for us now is this Treasury voting system, which we actually have in prototype. So I think this is a really big deal for decentralizing now. So if we want to be censorship resistant, we also need to make sure that we can't be censored, right? Say you go and, abduct Rolf and Rob, what are we going to do? So we're decentralizing our governance. That's a really big part of it, right? And we already have the prototype through IOHK that we're load testing right now. So that's a really exciting thing near term. We also have a whole set of wallets that we have that hopefully, knock on wood, will be released in the next 1 to 2 months. Where I think we're three or four of 6 sprints through them right now, but then of course we'll have to test them and QC them before we release. But really, they're designed for usability in mind. So this is where I think Rolf already mentioned, we actually want people to use our products. We don't want them to just be, we don't want Zen to just be something you trade for fun or for money, right? We want to be actually a useful utility across a whole, set of measures. So, in the near term, besides the governance, we have a whole series of wallets that are going to be released, which I think are very exciting. And, not to ramble too much, but we're the first cryptocurrency to actually stand up dedicated customer support. So again, this goes towards usability, where we actually respect and treat our users with dignity. And if you have problems with, say, your wallet or a secure node and there's real money involved, well, sometimes I've been there panicking when an exchange won't respond to me and there's money involved, right? So now we actually have a customer support system up with human beings that staff it. So that's something that I'm really proud of.
So that's a few good 3 things there. I really like the system of governance coming up. That's something that I'm going to keep attentive to, because I've been trying to see the different ecosystems flourish with different systems of governance. So definitely going to keep on that. More wallets coming out. That's good. And I have to say, as someone who worked at a previous startup out in Palo Alto, where my main focus or half of my job was doing customer service, because all of us played a role in it, I understand how important it is, because I've had experiences on Coinbase and other exchanges where there's just that simple customer support that you expect, and it can leave you either loving a company or hating the company forever. So it's good to see that you guys have
right.
Yeah, it's good for
without naming names. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, sorry, I probably should. I'll keep my mouth shut. Won't name names. But yeah, I mean, well, if Rolf, if you have anything to add to that, I mean, that was a really good summary, Robert. But yeah,
those were good things. I have a few quick things to add. I'm excited that we are building out our full stack business. So setting up like a small business, got an accountant, so we can show everybody what we've been spending the community funds on. We have a legal guy, just so there's a lot of different contracts that we do, because we're working to get on all sorts of different exchanges that will be added to in the next few months. We're working on business partnerships that y'all should hear about in the next few months for people actually providing places to use ZenCash on the web. And then hardware wallets. We have submitted our request to Ledger. So we've fully created and tested the application for Ledger. It's up there. We're looking for them to look through it and test it and approve it. So, and then we're also working on getting on the Treasury Model T. So just got the prototype for that. There's the Open Dime Cold Card that's coming out. There's Zeta. There's Digital Bitbox. So there's a whole bunch of hardware wallets we're looking at getting on too.
Awesome. So increased security in regards to wallets, all kinds of stuff expanding for. Guys, I'm really shocked. I didn't know so much was going on for ZenCash.
But actually, let me just jump in. Rolf actually coined this phrase in my head the other day, where he said we're a full stack business, and I love that, because it's so true. We have an awesome engineering team, a lot of R&D going on, but what you're going to see is a huge acceleration in our just productivity and output with these relationships, and like just give it a couple months. I don't want to shill here, right? But we have some amazing stuff going on, and it's because now we have this full stack business. We have professionals in 7 divisions in our organization that are away full speed every day. And this, I think, is our big competitive advantage, is that a lot of other projects just don't have it. And that's something that I think 2018 we'll see is like a year of professionalization as well. And I think that we're doing a great job leading the way.
No, definitely. You guys have the research side to it in regards to trying to build a solid governance system, researching into DAG technology, the business side in regards to trying to get out there more on more exchanges, get onto more hardware wallets. I think the ambitions of getting on Trezor and Ledger are not only reasonable, but should be a standard kind of expectation from the users for ZenCash. So I think that's really awesome that you guys are doing all this. Again, I'm going to continue to do my research on it, try to keep up with ZenCash comparative to all the different privacy kind of protocols out there on the market right now. But nonetheless, it seems like you guys are really well positioned, and you guys answer every question really well. So I do want to appreciate you guys for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks you so much, Nicholas.
All right, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. No, yeah, thank you guys for coming. It was a pleasure to have both Rob and Rolf on the interview, guys. I want to ask you all, though, what do you think down in the comments down below in regards to ZenCash? Is it one of your favorite projects out there? And if for those of you out there who don't have much knowledge in regards to ZenCash, I'm going to have a lot of links down below in the description so you guys can dive through on all the resources that you need in regards to the project. Just wanted to give a little bit of coverage to these guys today because I'm really excited from what I've read so far, and I will be keeping up with not only both of you, but I will be keeping up with the entire project of ZenCash to hopefully see how things go over the next few months. So best of luck to the both of you and the rest of the team at ZenCash.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next video.